Hi, I'm Stephanie Arell, and the topic I'm going to discuss with you today relates to self-advocacy. This is the idea of putting yourself forward, standing up for yourself, drawing boundaries, knowing who you are, and advocating for that person that you value so much internally and deeply. I care about this topic for many reasons, but let me bring two small anecdotes to the fore for you. As a college professor, I have seen many times students who want to get a need met that doesn't match my schedule for them. The best example for that is final exams. People will ask for having the final exam date be altered based on needs that they have. Now, I am not obliged in any circumstance to change my final exam, but if there are extenuating circumstances for a student, I have considered doing that. There are students, though, who do not have the courage to ask me to make that kind of adjustment for them. Generally, they are not students that are from the United States, and they are generally students that travel near or just after final exams to get home to some foreign country. And when I learned that I have students local who may have something come up and ask to change their final, that they are comfortable with the English language, they are comfortable with their level of entitlement potentially, they're comfortable with themselves to ask me this question. And it's not every student, but there are quite a few that feel comfortable, and then other students that clearly do not. One student was flying at least 14 hours to go home and had all of her finals and mine a week later and did not ask me to change the date. And when I found out that she stayed in the United States for 6 or 7 extra days to take my final and did not ask for any accommodation, I said to her, listen, I can say no to you, but if you don't ask for what you need, your need will go unmet. I think it's so critical for us to learn how to ask for what we need. You may get no for an answer, and okay, it's not the end of the world. If I can't change the date, I can't change the date. But if I can, and I can accommodate you in a way that allows you to go see your family who's in a foreign country a week earlier, of course, I'm going to try to make that accommodation. On a personal level, I have never had an issue with advocating for myself and have always thought it to be something critical, and I push myself into those rules, even though it's quite difficult for me. And it's not difficult on a level of the actual act of asking for what I need. It's difficult on an emotional level to make a decision that this need deserves to be met. That's a little tricky because it's not directly related to my own self-worth, because I think that for the most part, I have a high level of self-worth, but it's related to the dynamic in any given situation that I could make this situation more amenable to me, and that would be an okay thing to do and doesn't signify any kind of weakness. So that's my trippy. I want to make sure that in any given situation I look strong, and sometimes I believe asking for what I need may indicate that I'm not strong. All right, those are two different examples. One is more aligned with a cultural habit where putting oneself forth and asking for what they need is not necessarily common, or it might be uncomfortable because of language barriers, because of not understanding what is or is not allowed in the United States, or common, rather, what is common in the United States. And another one has to do with perceiving the request for asking for what one needs related to perceived weakness. The third, and there are probably more than three, but the third and a strong reason why people don't advocate for themselves has to do with lowered sense of self-worth. The perception that if I advocate for myself, I may be too egotistical, or alternatively, why am I worth asking for what I need? And as a result, there's a silence that gets perpetuated and lived into because of a perception of lowered self-worth. just to be a little bit of a devil's advocate, I'm not really a proponent of somebody who says you deserve X, Y, or Z, or you deserve peace of mind. I don't really like that languaging because there are people that don't have the privilege or luxury of having peace of mind or even being able to ask for what they need. And as a result, I feel uncomfortable with deserve. But what I do know is that it's nothing but positive for us to understand ourselves, understand what we need, and ask for that. And if we don't get it, then we make adjustments. Or if it's just not possible, then we have something else to think about. Or maybe we learn that what we're asking for is too much. And we have to sort of do some self-evaluation and say, okay, where are the limits or boundaries here that I need to pay attention to adjust my own behavior? And perhaps it's your own behavior of entitlement. Asking for what you need and self-advocacy at the end of the day does nothing but teach you about yourself. It teaches you about your worth. It teaches you how to use your voice. It teaches you how to engage in courageous behavior. It teaches you to be aware of others and respond to others' boundaries. It teaches you how to move through the world with a level of confidence, even if you have self-doubt. And it teaches you to counter any lowered self-worth that's hidden in your body. So advocate for you.